Welcome everybody. We're going to cast the semifinals between Weasel and RandyPanda for Battlegrounds Custom. Winner will move on to face Crispianus in a best of 7 final. Hitch with me again to co-cast this one. And Hitch, I'm ready at 5 seconds.
I'm ready when you are.
3, 2, 1, go. Alright. Berbers here for RandyPanda in the yellow, and Slavs for Weasel here in the green. What do you think of this new updated mod here, Hitch, for the range?
That's nice.
I don't know how you have your series set up, but I just have it set on when the building is selected. But I think
Yeah,
it's
mine should be set for all the time, but it's not working right now in
in Capture Age.
Capture Age for whatever reason.
Fair enough. Yeah, I really like it though. It's a nice little feature there. As far as the maps go, obviously Battlegrounds Game 1 here. Additional hunt and herdables in the middle, as well as berries, gold, and some very small wood lines as well. But generally a pretty aggressive feudal age. Berbers, Slavs, both looking to probably head in that direction. Berbers probably one of the better civs in this map that we've seen throughout the tournament.
Yeah, Berber's very strong counter for knights on here. But we've also seen a lot of knights win on this map. That said, Berber's cheap knights can do the job just as well.
Yeah, the Berbers, cheaper cavalry and camels have really paid off. I don't think we've seen any camel archers yet, but definitely an option. We'll see what happens moving forward here. Weasel sitting in the corner of the map, which thus far has been preferred by everyone who's been participating in the tournament. Brandy sitting more in the middle of his side of the map over here.
Yeah.
Weasel is looking to be headed out here to build a house, it looks like. Yeah. Gonna drop 2 houses in the front, so he'll likely wall up across the front there. RandyPanda hasn't gone out to build those houses yet, not exactly sure where he's gonna go out, but both players' scouts are in the middle here, and they are looking to bring in as many herdables as they can. Weasel, unfortunately, just missing out as RandyPanda has actually pulled those 4 sheep already, and Weasel's shift-clicked all around, but hasn't found any of those there yet.
Yeah. So looking at the generation here, if we look in the middle, we got some berries a little closer for Weasel here, but gold closer for RandyPanda. So we'll have to see if that plays into how this plays out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how this one comes through. I mean, both civs, I feel like more of a counter civ for a lot of straight cavalry unit civs with what the Berbers are here is what Randy has. But with the Slavs, I mean, their infantry is extremely good. They do also have always fully upgraded cavalry. Doesn't go any farther than that, but for Berbers, I'm thinking we're going to see a lot of camels, most likely.
Yeah, makes sense.
And Weasel not wasting any time getting these walls up. It looks like he is going to try to wall up the corner. And in previous rounds, I think we've seen Weasel try to wall his base completely, and he doesn't actually move out of his base until going into Castle Age or to drop a TC in Castle Age. So be interested to see how that works out for him. And Randy's been a pretty big fan of early scout rushes, I believe, from what I've seen in his tournament stay. So definitely going to be interesting to see if we see that from him, which would be expected with his Civ choice here.
Yeah, I think at this point the number one deciding factor we see in who wins and loses is getting TCs out in the middle. Getting multiple TCs out in the middle early on Battlegrounds tends to be something that the winner ends up doing.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense too, though. They're securing their resources that way. And, I mean, when you only have 5 tiles of gold at your base, it's going to be gone really quickly.
Yeah, and the idea was for quick games, aggressive games, early games, and it really does play into that.
Absolutely. I mean, as far as scouting goes, Weasel has found his opponent, is still looking around the middle for additional resources. Randy, he looks like he did find his opponent as well. Both players pretty much just scouting in the middle, which is all you really need to do on this map. The outside's pretty much just open with a few hills, perhaps, maybe a wolf or two, and a bunch of trees. Don't really have to scout for trees. Lame, bro. It's lame. A little bit of banter between the players here. Was there a lame? I don't even recall seeing one. Both players up to Feudal Age already. Weasel pretty heavy on wood, starting to drop farm, so this might even be a scout build for him here. Both players getting their barracks up now, been pretty passive thus far, but again, would expect to see a lot of aggression as far as scouts are concerned here within the coming minutes. Randy's walls here feel very tight to his base. What do you think about this walling? We've seen quite a few players wall this way. Just very tight, compact base. Hitch must have stepped away. No worries. RandyPanda did lose a little bit of HP here. Not ideal. Going to rush up the stable, though, is Weasel with 3 villagers going to be dropping that very quickly. And on the opposite side, just 2 as RandyPanda just now got to Feudal Age. And Weasel's going to take the advantage in the scout fight here then with his starting scout. That will be a very nice touch for him here. Especially, you know, scout numbers and HP is going to be something very important for us to look at here. But we're going to have a blacksmith on its way up here immediately as well for RandyPanda. So he's looking potentially to get some eco up or some armor and attack upgrades. I think Weasel's going to go out here, Thisville, and start to wall back in towards his base. Scout, must got away here. Neither player has lost a unit yet, so don't see the scout fight continue there. But both players going to be getting, looks like double bid axe for sure, and not sure if Weasel got it yet or not. He did not. So wall's coming up for him, and he's sitting at home in more of a defensive manner at the moment. But here come the scouts. 3 scouts to 3 right now. But
he does have a bit axe. I don't know where he got that he doesn't, but
I just didn't see it coming in yet on my little screen up here because I don't have Capture Age working properly.
Right. Yeah. Lots of scouts out on the field here. Neither player going to the middle. Does that mean that is that the meta then? You don't go out?
See, I feel like it's dependent on how you're playing it. I personally like to go out early. In any of the games that I've played on this map, going out for me just seems to be a nice boost to my eco, given that there's so much free food just sitting out there waiting to go. And a couple spears to defend it is never going to be that difficult.
Yeah, I mean, generally you're going to get back more food from the hunt faster than you lose to the spears, right?
Yep. Weasel loses a vill here on the wall, so his walls are not completed. Abandons the mining camp as well, and is trying to quick wall in his lumber fills.
Yeah, this is unfortunate. No spears, so first spear on the way. But 1 spear could be taken out by 4 here, and I'd just attack the gate at this point if you can't get in.
Yeah, I think Weasel just got lucky enough to put that 1 palisade down there to block it. So, I mean, spear is out now. Scouts for Weasel just sitting in the middle of the map. I think if you're not going to be using them as aggressively at this point, just bring them back home and fight this. But
yeah, it's a waste to have him down, but he's distracted at home. I almost say at least like to patrol him or something if you can't control him. But
Yeah, and I mean he has 2 scouts out. He's got his wood lines walled in until this overchop happens. I mean, not a bad situation. Weasel is getting skill barding armor as well. Looks like
Oh, overchop, overchop, overchop.
yeah, overchop in the
He doesn't
north
see it.
wood
Go
line.
in. Come on, come on. I know Randy's not gonna see it, and he's gonna throw him from these spears. That's too bad. Too bad for Randy.
Yeah, and now the spear numbers are there. A second stable even coming up here for Weasel. His eco is sitting pretty good. He's about half a vill ahead, even after losing a villager early. And pressure on the gold. He's gonna have to run, but looks like we're gonna see some walls here for Weasel, or at least one palisade wall. Interesting.
That, yeah, I mean that's just the strategy there. It's distracts your opponent. He tries to click on your villagers. He accidentally clicks on the wall. It's good.
Yeah. I mean, I can get behind that. Scouts. Yeah, scouts aren't getting in here. I think Weasel should just come home and stop being distracted at home. We should send the scouts back to fight this. I mean, it's great if you're doing damage, but I mean, was he idling one vill to build houses behind the wall forever?
Yeah, I mean, another
Another
vill
vill
down
goes
for Weasel.
down here for Weasel too.
I think people seem to like the corner position, and I understand why. Give you a little bit more space. But it's harder to wall up, and these maps are not friendly to walling generally, I think. And if you're going to do it, I think you have to commit and make sure it gets up.
I agree.
Like if you already have your own scouts on the field, you need to have your walls already up. Like Weasel had, I think his scouts out and the walls weren't finished yet, and so you should have known the other scouts were coming. What I would like to see from Weasel here is as a Vil go out to tower or something. If he isn't going to fight this at home, he could tower. He could deny all of the gold and stone at home for Randy with one tower.
Yep, Scout gets
Scout
in. He does
protect
see
it.
the hole, but it's only one, and Weasel finds it. But Weasel will probably lose another vill here.
Yes, he did.
Another vill goes down. It's 3 villager kills with 4 scouts. Weasel scouts, they're just sitting in the middle. He's
Yeah.
not using them for anything right now. It's kind of unfortunate for him.
I know I'm a broken record on this, but I think more people will put towers in this one. It seems like people want to wall up, go scouts, and farm boom in feudal.
Yep.
Especially with how exposed Randy's resources is. All the gold, all the stone denied. One counter tower is all he could do. And Weasel needs the counter pressure out here, and I think a tower would have been the way to go.
Yep, and both players are about halfway up to castle. Weasel going to be up a little bit sooner, but not much of an advantage there. And honestly, with Weasel losing those few vills, eco is obviously a little bit worse. And I mean, he is going to be running out of this gold here before too long. Not going to last forever. He still has 2 tiles on the walls here, but still, we'll have to expand. And as you mentioned earlier, not so much gold close to his town center at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, which might be an issue with them both being castled around the same time. But I mean, that's why you get that early map presence can make all the difference.
Well, and one tower would deny all the gold from RandyPanda.
Yeah, and that's
And
what
the
like
stone.
Randy's gonna put a TC right between that gold. That's a beautiful TC.
Yep.
And that's where I wanted a tower. And maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm just very unskilled at this game when I think that. But I think a villager or two to do a tower to deny all their gold and stone with your scouts to protect it is beautiful. It would have drawn out the scouts out of his base. They would have tried to come out.
Yeah. Well, and I like this TC because it does have a gold and a wood line on it, so
Oh,
it's effective. A stone is also a bonus. Weasel
yeah.
just gonna have stone and wood here, not even gonna be on a gold, and gold's gonna be more important at this time. I mean,
Yeah. Absolutely love the TC from Randy. It's just I would have what I would have loved even more is to see a tower there from Weasel. So,
yeah,
but no one's done towers or used towers. We've seen a couple players mix in skirms or archers with their scouts, which I think has been pretty successful.
yep. Weasel's got
And
his scouts patrolling around the map here.
second TC from Randy also securing gold versus Weasel. He's playing at home. He's not going out. There's no reason he couldn't TC the gold in the middle or on the north side of that. He's just not. He's
Yeah,
got
and
enough military.
he could have
He's letting
sent
that
his
on.
spears, his scouts, and his knights being produced out to secure some land here with the TC. Instead, he's
Yeah,
really just playing at home, being more passive. Scouts back over here at this wall, battering a house, which will take a while.
right. Well, here and it's already well housed up behind it. Now, this is my issue with this kind of play is you don't have gold at home for long term gameplay. Like I can understand not going out in Dark Age. I can understand even not going out in Feudal Age but you have to get out and get TCs up in the middle in Castle Age. I think that is not negotiable on this map. Unless you win in Feudal, you have to get TCs out there in Castle.
Yeah, I mean, the only other thing that you're going to be able to do is you're going to have to go 1 TC all in. Like, there's
Right.
you can't just sit here and with what 800 times 5, it's what 4,000 gold, and it's the 26th minute, almost 27th minute, and Weasel's almost mined through. Oh, he's mined
Yeah,
through almost over half of it already.
and I hate this TC. While you're building a TC on 2 tiles of gold, go out to the middle. Go out to the middle. You have enough army to chase this guy away.
Yeah, military numbers are starting to rapidly get close here. Weasel complaining about the maps being hard coded against him, but
See, I don't buy that at all. I mean, there's gold closer to Randy here, and I get that. But there's food closer to him. It's what you make of it. Randy went out. Weasel didn't even try to go out.
yeah, and Weasel picking off a Vill and destroying the foundation to a barracks there. That's a lot of good work done there for him. His Vill count still very similar. Gold control is really what it's going to come down to here. And I mean, Weasel is going to be on stone, so maybe he's just going to try to get a castle up out there, which would be acceptable, and secure some map position. But obviously, he's not being able to produce the military the same way. Feels
Yeah, I
like
mean,
no military production right now. Oh,
yeah,
no,
I
he's
mean, he's
getting housed
struggling.
too, so that probably doesn't help.
Yeah, house. He's got not a ton of gold left. He's still got enough gold left to fight here for a little bit. It's not like the game's going to be over.
Yeah.
But it just long term, like right where his knights are. Why is there not TC up there?
And we're getting
He
the
knows
fletching
about it.
upgrade. It seems like a weird time, but I
Yeah.
guess if you're going to go
Now,
into some skirms, it makes sense.
I mean, maybe. I mean, Weasel is Slavs here, so maybe the plan is maybe this is intentional. He's not going to TC. He wants to get a castle up, get up to Imp maybe, and try to go for Slav infantry, right? Like,
Yeah, this is a rough
for
spot here. He's taking the fight at a really bad spot too. He's getting a
you know,
bunch of hits against him. RandyPanda up on the hill at the start of the fight, and with camels in there.
yeah, this is a bad fight for me. Honestly, I feel like Halb Siege beats Berbers pretty handily, doesn't it?
Oh,
Especially
absolutely.
Slav Halb Siege.
Yep.
So maybe that's the answer right now. Maybe it's get a castle up, to secure your economy here, protect your thing. Maybe even stonewall this real quick, and we're not going to see any reaction. No reaction. No reaction. No reaction. Yeah. Oh, too little, too late. Unfortunately. And GG.
Yeah, and just no military. Weasel had the eco lead, was looking to be in a good position. Took a really bad fight, unfortunately for him. Pikeman upgrade, I think, came in there right at the end of the fight, but fighting when your opponent's uphill is always going to be a problem. Not, let alone you've got counter units out.
Yeah, I honestly, I get Weasel's complaint because there is gold closer to Randy than Weasel, but it's not that gold wasn't within reach for Weasel. He could have got it. I think he misplayed the Civ, honestly. I think going full pike here in Castle Age to defend a TC and get up. Pike long term, I think Pike Siege wins here.
Well, and I mean, honestly, even with the statement you just made about the gold didn't even come into play. Weasel still has gold. He's still
Yeah,
mining gold. It's just he has no military production coming out right now. Took a really bad fight against counter units downhill, and ultimately lost the game because of it.
yeah. I think worth looking into. Slav's worth watching going forward on battleground maps because I think they can play scout knights really well. Obviously, with that wonderful farming eco. Um, but beyond that, I think they are a good counter for a knight counter pick. Like Berbers, I think would struggle against a Slav pike siege long term. Um, all the counters wouldn't they? Like
Yeah,
I don't
most of
think
the civs that we've seen on this map would struggle against it.
yeah, and
Unless we're good,
Slav can
like,
do both.
we had to have a few archer civs be played here, which wouldn't struggle so much against it, but uh,
I mean,
would still struggle, but just in different ways. But nonetheless, I mean, I feel like the approach was fine. Being able to wall up at home, he's got palisade walls, house walls, and I just think his military fight there, and it just kind of didn't help him. He also doesn't have any defense on the pikes. Um, so maybe he wasn't going to try to go pike siege. Maybe he was just going to try to get a castle up because he was almost there. It's another thing that if he could have walled behind just a little bit quicker, could have got a castle up and defended himself a little bit better. But RandyPanda, I mean, getting his eco TCs up, securing some land, but not really booming. Full military production from Berbers, and honestly, 3 TC play from Berbers, so nice to play. It's a lot easier to produce with the cheaper cavalry units and the cheaper camels.
yeah. So well played. I think honestly, if Weasel got those palisade, if he put one more vill on the palisade walls early on, if those scouts didn't get on him, that might have been a completely different game.
Yeah, for sure.
Because he how much idle time, how much distraction, how much of his attention did that take up? It was
A
just
ton.
awful.
And like I said, his scouts were not doing
Idle.
anything against the walls there.
Yeah.
But
It's unfortunate for Weasel, but I'm sure he can come back here. He's proven throughout this tournament that he's got strategies. He's prepared. So there's no reason, even being behind on Battlegrounds, that he can't take this set.
yeah, and I mean, it was a lot closer than it may have looked at the end there, with the military numbers being so far an advantage for Randy. But I mean, 68 Vilhide to 57 for Weasel. His eco, like food collected to all of that, is either better or just slightly worse.
Yeah.
And if
I
he would
mean,
have been able to hold against the 3 stable play, he would have probably been in a really good position.
yeah, for me, I think the strategy choice just wasn't great. I think playing Slav Knights, which don't have any bonuses, they're just knights
Yeah.
against Berbers, it just isn't the right play. Scout opening, sure, but I just don't think that's a reasonable move. You're always going to be outmassed because of the Berber bonus. The Berbers are going to mix in camels that'll counter your knights, which have no bonuses. Uh, it just doesn't feel like the best choice, and it's unfortunate.
Yep. But we'll load up game number 2 here, and it's going to be on one of Weasel's home maps, which is going to be between. Let me pull this up real quick. Weasel's home maps were Shaded Pond and Bog Delta. So we'll load up game number 2 and get in here. Alright, I'm at 9 seconds because I hit the wrong button to pause.
Ready when you are.
3, 2, 1, go.
Spanish and Persians. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, Persian's obviously a star selection in hybrid maps, not even a question. Being able to go out and drop a dock immediately is always a very nice thing, especially after being able to put down your houses too. So, we'll see if Weasel goes after that. Spanish, obviously Spanish, a good civ. Not sure they're one of the better civs for this map, but definitely a fine civ. They could get a castle up here, and I mean, with this generation here, both players pretty evened out here across the front. Just have to wall up if they so choose. and
Yeah.
it could be pretty safe here. I know we've made some changes to this map recently, so that water buffalo don't actually spawn out on the neutral islands. So I don't know. I feel like Weasel already setting a bill out. So looks like his food eco should be no. That's actually just going for a lumber camp. So Weasel not even using his civ advantage here to go out and drop a dock early.
Oh, well, I mean, that might not be the play. I mean, Persians, strong against archers, and I think archers are strong on this. Their Persian knights are good against that. Persians do have the stronger docks and TCs, which may matter. I mean, you could feasibly even douche on this map. It's not the best map for it. Certainly not the best map of the tournament, but you could do it. But yeah, I really like this generation. We in the past week or so we tweaked some of the wood lines, and I think it's definitely a lot more even. I've kind of modified it to force it to be even.
Yep.
But definitely with the neutral wood lines on the bog, very favorable for Weasel here. So he if he wants to try to do a boomy thing here, he should be able to very easily wall up.
Yeah, I mean this wood line would definitely allow for it to be quite a successful wall off. But again, it's going to come down to how he plays it. I mean, as far as Persians go, I feel like they have to boom up to get to knights. In most cases, I don't feel like scouts are going to get a lot done on this map in general anyways, given how easy it's going to be to wall up. Water buffalo, getting you the extra 50 food per water buffalo is also a nice touch for this map. But Weasel yet to find a few of his here in the back of his base as he is scouted towards his enemy. Looks like he's already planning to wall up across the front with these two houses. Nice thing about this map though is there are some fish here, as we have some salmon on the map, but it's not a ton of fish. So if you don't go water or you don't win water, it's not like you're giving up like how we have Arena Cove. Arena Cove, water is extremely important.
You
And
say that, but 28 salmon here.
no, it's a lot of salmon. I don't get me wrong, but it's not like it's 100, or like 60 like we have on
It's
Arena Cove.
6,300 food.
That's true. It's a lot. It is.
I think it's a mistake not to. On hybrid maps generally, it's a mistake not to dock. But we see both players going for the mill, so clearly people don't agree with how I think the map should be played.
Yeah, I mean, I think that at least one dock and 3 fishing
Oh
ships.
no! Is there a hole in that bog? Is there a hole in that bog where he just deleted the palisade foundations? I think there's a hole in the middle of those trees.
Oh yeah, I think there is. There's also one in the north I found earlier.
Oh, he had palisades there. Yeah, there's definitely a gap there. Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, of course, the other one stands out. But he had a palisade. Please see it, Weasel. Okay. Oh god, that was way too much stress for me.
Another interesting thing, I think we may have had some lames coming out here from Randy because he's got 9 water buffalo, or 8 of
But
them still there.
there are neutral water buffalo.
Yeah, so maybe he just got those because Weasel does still have 4. So another interesting thing that I like to point out on this map, you do have additional hunt. So Weasel's barracks or mill here in the front, as you see on the screen, he's on berries right now, but the deer are also extremely close. And I think that you saw Weasel's walls, didn't you?
Why do people wall up like this on this map? We've seen this so many times. He could finish walling up with 2 tiles of palisades. Instead, he's gonna wall so much.
And we're actually gonna have a tower rush coming from RandyPanda, which makes a lot of sense for Spanish. Spanish is gonna be able to break in here, and I mean Weasel, not even a barracks up in defense yet, building very awkward walls to the point where he can't even wall up all that well.
We haven't seen many tower rushes, and I don't think we've seen a very successful one on Bog Delta, but it does feel like a map where a tower rush could really work. You have a lot of woodlands, you have a lot of res, but it doesn't feel like you have a lot of room. I think when you're playing it, like you feel kind of crammed in because half the map is water.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it's a nice play. I feel like he's going way too far around right now. I don't really get what he's trying to do with this at the moment because he could have just attacked those palisades over here and been just fine. But he's
Yeah,
sending the vills clear to the north. This is a ton of idle time.
yeah, and it's also odd because he has a scout in the base. He knows, or he had a scout in the base. He knows where the Weasel's res is.
Yep.
So I think it would have made a lot of sense to come in on that south side and push towards that golden stone because Weasel's resources there are jumbled up pretty closely, just like Randy's own gold is on that side as well.
Yeah, and I hate this tower. This is a terrible
Oh,
tower. Like it
too
is going to range the
awful.
wood line. The
Two
second
awful
tower.
towers.
Second tower is not great either. I mean, he will be able to break in here, so that is a plus. But ultimately, this does no good, and it's a lot of resources wasted here.
Yeah, I mean you're denying one gold. You're making it harder to get out to water. But like, if he towered by the dock, then you deny fish.
Yeah.
I don't love it. But the thing is, it's map control.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's been the defining factor in this whole bracket of this tournament, is that the players that win are the ones that control the game, and that's kind of what self-explanatory, obviously, right? Like it feels almost dumb to say, but like it's what it is. Like the ones with the momentum, the ones deciding the moves, picking the fights, win.
Yeah. Weasel going man-at-arms, actually. Why man-at-arms? This feels a little awkward.
I mean,
I guess he doesn't have
sure.
the wood to get up a stable yet, so makes sense for the time being. Another tower that doesn't really do much. Doesn't do anything actually, just more map control.
I mean, it'll deny farm space. I think he's just creeping in here. This is one way to do towers. It's very thorough, right? Like every tower is covered by the previous tower.
Yeah, that's true.
Is it necessary? Probably not. But I mean, it's not. It works.
Yeah, I mean definitely. I
Like,
mean it's definitely done a lot. It's caused some idle time for sure. Man at Arms upgrade in already for Weasel, which is nice. But like you said, these towers are just strolling in here. Man at Arms aren't going to do anything. Villager's going to go down here, and Weasel with a slight villager lead, which is probably just the fishing ships out here for the most part. But
yeah, absolutely. I mean, the fishing ships are saving his ass right now.
yeah.
That's like the safe eco he has there. So tell me, you're more of a 1v1 player than me. How do you counter this? How do you counter a tower rush creeping in like this?
Well, interestingly, whenever the first tower came in, my instinct was to wall behind again. Like, double wall as best you can and try to prevent him from getting actually into your base. Because, I mean, he towered and he did hit the wood line, yes. Like, but drop some house walls, drop some more palisade walls farther back. Like, try to prevent him from getting in, make it more difficult. That's my instinct. But, I mean, Weasel just decides to move his wood line and rely on his eco behind this, which is not a bad thing. Problem is he's going to be stretched so much now.
Yeah, I mean, and he does have a 3-vil lead, but he also has a lot of idols comparatively.
Yeah, and he's gonna drop a defensive wood tower on his wood line, which is actually a great idea at this point. But he needs to wall towards his town center here to cut this off completely now.
I would have liked to see that on the hill, though. It looks like it's at the base of a hill, which is never ideal.
Yeah, it's not the greatest, but it's not like it's gonna
Yeah, he
be.
needed it.
Yeah.
The thing I don't like is that he's not on stone now. I think.
Yeah,
I
there's
think
no
maybe
instant shift to stone.
now. Yeah, he is battering down some towers here. It's good, but I would like to see 1 or 2 on stone just to be ready for DCs when you get up and be ready if you need to counter tower again.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely the play. That, and I really think you should wall from that tower to his town center again. I mean, maybe this has been pushed away now.
We say that, yeah, but 2 towers down, the 3rd tower will go down unopposed. Only militia from RandyPanda.
That's true.
So, maybe we have things we would say differently, but I don't think Weasel's handled this poorly. He still has a 5-vil lead, and he's taken 3 towers out.
Yeah, I mean,
his last tower the tower he put down looked like a bad idea.
yeah, I mean, it's not bad at all. I mean, Randy has managed to wall himself up for the most part. He still has a hole in the very back between the wood line and the house there,
What?
but
What?
it's
What do
going to
you?
go into stable play.
I might be dumb, but why don't people? Do people not realize you can wall on the bog? Like, why? Why are people doing these super long walls?
Well, I mean, Weasel did wall on the bog, so he knew it was possible. As far as what RandyPanda knows about that, I don't know if he knows. He should know if he's ever played Golden Swamp too, because it's the same kind of terrain. So there is
I
that.
just feel like, especially when you're putting on so much pressure like he is.
Yeah.
It's not like you can't get out there. I don't know.
No,
It's
it's
probably something
a
I
little
just don't
confusing.
understand because I'm a noob. But
Yeah, but I mean, Weasel does have this fish working out here as well for him, so that's definitely going to help. But Scout's going to be coming in here soon, and Weasel doesn't have anything to defend from that other than Man-at-Arms. So, gonna need to make the switch himself here pretty soon.
the thing that, like, I know I've been hammering on about the fish. I don't think we've seen anyone play strong on water here. We've never seen anyone go strong on fishing ships.
Yeah.
And I wish we could see at least one person on this map go strong into fishing ships, because I think it would be deciding. If you go 6, 8 fishing ships and one fire ship to make sure the other person doesn't get on or whatever, I think it would make such a difference in how these games play out.
And
Obviously, this tower makes it all kinds of weird, but I'd still like to see it sometime.
Yeah. And Weasel's actually gonna shift into spearman production rather than scouts. It feels like the wrong play at this point. Weasel in chat over here on the game chat. I don't even play.
And just Idleville's just getting attacked by scouts. It just feels like Weasel's he's not playing at the level he's been playing throughout this tournament, I think.
Yep, I agree. Additional hunt that wasn't taken yet coming in handy here for Weasel as well. Spears are out and should be able to help defend from this. Weasel just now, within the last few minutes, lost the villager lead here. RandyPanda looking to be fairly comfortable at home.
Market Blacksmith coming up for Randy, and we're going to see Castle. He's thinking about Castle, maybe buying it with all that gold he has.
Yeah, and I feel like Weasel keeps insisting on trying to batter these towers down, but he's just losing more and more HP and villagers and military units in the process. I think you just leave him there until you get to Castle Age and build a ram.
Yeah, I think you have that counter tower on the wood line there. You put another counter tower on the other side of your TC, then your whole eco is secure.
Yeah, he's actually got the waypoint was actually set on that tower, which is unfortunate.
Oh, nice. You probably use that to send all the bills at once or whatever. But
yep,
I that's just what I would have liked to see. If a tower on the other side of the TC, they stop the towers from creeping in, and then use his eco lead that he had earlier to get up to castle sooner, Mangonels or Rams or whatever he felt was appropriate.
Yep, and RandyPanda being extremely annoying with scouts, doing a really good job of keeping his eco close here, as Weasel's only a villager behind again, even after all this pressure. Also on his way to Castle Age is Weasel, so look for a few
Randy
knights to come out early.
Yep. So no lead, unfortunately, for Weasel, and he needed a lead here. I don't know if that was that all the vills he lost to the scouts, was that all the idle time he had battering towers. It's just a shame he didn't get up earlier. He was so close to it too.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I feel like one TC between all these golds and the stone for Weasel, and then some knights, and this is fine. Like, and then get a siege workshop down when you can, and ram them down. You should ideally have the better eco moving forward. I mean, obviously, Randy's done a good job of raiding to deal with that fat, make it closer.
And the reason he's had the eco lead or at least been able to keep up is he's up to now 5 fishing ships, which he didn't have to buy food to go up, and Randy was buying food, so
that's true.
His eco is better right now in that regard.
Yeah, and I mean, Weasel can just expand his eco on the water. Like you said, there is a lot of fish there. I mean, he could even put a transport out and have even more res out there under his control. Maybe a dock for more efficient fishing. I mean, it's lots of options for him here.
Randy's already gone through his first stone pile onto his second. Maybe thinking about a castle drop here.
Yeah, I think that's the play. Castle, and then go ahead and get up some conquistadors. And honestly, I think he's just dropped off this gold at this TC with these 4 vills. And yep, castle coming in on the town center.
I mean, and that castle's impossible to deny, even with a handful of knights out. I mean, the knights don't have the second upgrade. They could go.
You could deny it. It's only
No,
4
no,
vills.
you're right. You're right. You're right. But they're not going to be able to deny it long term. These jump in. Their counter knights already here.
Absolutely,
If
but buying time is going to be important here.
that's true. I mean, but he's not like he never went onto stone like we discussed, and
Well, and I guess that's the game.
not even a GG. All right.
GG, then. RandyPanda taking game number 2. And I feel like it's good play from both. I feel like Weasel, only mistake he really made was trying to batter all these down with all the towers being so close to each other there. But again, he did knock a few of them down, force a few to be rebuilt. But again, like I said at the beginning, I would have tried to wall behind a little bit more, try to prevent him from getting in. Even if he gets in, buying time that way. But on water, had a good eco lead. Like you said, didn't have to buy a castle. No. But Randy had great pressure. Good job pressuring his
Yeah,
opponent and bringing home the win.
he did. It's just like the last game. Like it doesn't feel like Weasel was like massively outplayed or anything. Just a little bit, and a little bit counts. Um, I to me, like I do like the fishing ships that Weasel put on, or why he had an eco lead. It's why he was able to keep up an eco. If Randy had been on had a one dock out, he would have had an eco lead the whole game. Um, so I think water is underplayed on this map.
Yeah, yep. And it's something we have to watch for in the finals here and then moving into the next bracket. So definitely going to be interested to see what happens with the development of this map and how people are playing it soon.
All right. Well,
All right, quick glance at the statistics. Uh, KD much better, obviously, for Randy, as Weasel was basically throwing vills and man-at-arms at towers for a while. But Eco was definitely looking much better for Weasel there, as far as the economy numbers there. 6,500 food to what would have been just shy of 5,000 food for him. So fish definitely paying off. GG's. Well played. But guys, this brings us to a unfortunate point in the stream where I have some sad news to bring you. Weasel, frustrated with his play, uh, decided he wasn't even going to continue onward and has forfeited the rest of the games to RandyPanda. So RandyPanda will actually be advancing from here to the finals to play Chris Bionis in a best of 7. So looking forward to that. Unfortunate. I know we waited a long time for these, and it is what it is. So we're just going to wish Weasel and a thank you, a happy tournament. Good to watch your games. And we're going to watch RandyPanda compete still, moving forward against Crisp. And that'll be a best of 7. They have yet to tell me when they're going to schedule it. These games were just played today. So if I could load up the bracket at any given time here, I'll switch to that scene. We can show the bracket if you guys would like. Obviously, it's just going to be Crisp versus RandyPanda in the final. And actually, this is not loading up for some reason. So, I hope you guys enjoyed the tournament thus far. If you guys are wanting to play in the next round, it is 1200 to 1400 elo. 1400 being the max at the highest that you've ever been. So we have quite a few signups already, and we're looking forward to having a few more, and hopefully well, not hopefully, those games will actually be starting. The bracket comes out May 13th. This bracket is here on your screen now, as you can see. Crispianus beating Poindexter, Giovanni, and Soul Zebra, as well as Dribbler. So he's gone all the way through every round and has made it to the finals. RandyPanda beating Weasol here this evening, Krinsky and Mac Tribe to make his way here to the finals. So looking forward to seeing the best of 7 between them. But that's going to be it for the cast this evening, guys. Again, sorry for the short cast this evening, but due to the circumstances, we don't have anything else to cast. So, thank you guys for hanging out for this. And we'll, if you're on YouTube, hope you guys tune in for the finals.